Can you guys help me with the review? Like, what did you learn yesterday? Kind of keywords.
Yesterday we have deployed Java-based applications,
Mhm.
and we have modified all the three YAML files,
Okay. Updated.
updated, yeah,
Which are all the MLs, for example?
deployment.yaml,
Mhm.
service.yaml,
Mhm.
ingress,
Yeah.
and we have first run the Helm Helm deployment.
Okay.
Then we had more accordingly we have modified these three YAMLs.
Yeah. Yeah. We created a
Yeah, a Helm chart.
Helm chart. That folder, right? Whatever the folder we are using, that is called Helm chart. Folder is called Helm chart. How to create a Helm chart? What is the command?
Helm create folder.
That's it. So automatically the structure chart.ml, values.ml,
Values.yaml.
templates. So inside that condition based, all those will come default. Uh, we no need to write any MLs. This will give you the total structure of that. Then you need to customize on top of that. If there is no some objects inside that templates folder, you may need to create them extra objects. By default, you will get deployment service, ingress, HPA, like something default related things and all you will get. If there is no extra objects, you may need to create them. Yeah. One more. Check.
Folder structure also we need to verify that the syntax is
Yeah. Helm.
values dot a values
This is
Helm
the command to check the syntax. Helm lint.
lint.
This is the command. There is a one more command alternative also. You can check Helm template. This is also command. You can use Helm template or Helm lint. Both are same to check the syntax. Helm template or Helm lint. Both. This will give you the YAMLs, how the structure and all something. Next, to deploy Helm
Upgrade.
-. No. There is a one more command you can use directly install also. But with the Helm install, right? If there is already Helm chart, it will fail. It will say that already exists. So that's where what we say, if it is there already, just upgrade. If not there, install. This is the good command to go. Helm upgrade -. Install. The I can say this. Yeah, chart name in the cluster. Then you should give the folder name. So by default, it will look from where the values to look. By default in this,
Folder.
in the folder from which file it will look by default to the values. Replica count, something like from by default, which file it will pick for the values.
Values.yaml.
Yeah, values.yaml. If I have my own specific values file, then I need to pass explicitly like here. FNF own values.yaml. So this is how the customization like will be going. So now you know the clarity, right? Like for example, my objective was you should know the how to deploy, how to check the namespace, how to access outside, basic objects, where the image will get run, worker node, all these kubectl. Helm internally will use the kubeconfig again. So Helm is the wrapper on top of kubectl. So kubectl need a kubeconfig. Helm also need a kubeconfig. So now you know the clarity kubectl versus Helm. Kubectl to get the commands to list all those you can use to create, deploy, everything purpose. Helm mainly to deploy group of objects with template language. What is the template language? You remember yesterday we were calling right dot values or one more with or one more with include. So all those we don't specify values directly in the YAMLs. We will call saying dot values. We call the values from here to another. Like in Terraform, right? You call var dot, right? For example, with the same. If you have block of code, group of code, then we use with or include these kind of keywords. So to call the group of multiple lines, single value we will replace with the values keyword. So that is. So majorly, very big projects and all, they'll use Sure Helm tool. You have seen Helm is like, it's not much complex compared to the kubectl preparing your own ML. You create a Helm chart, customize it according to your need. Possible we create, not possible, surely we will create our own values file. That values file will get passed according to the environment. When I'm deploying to the dev environment, I will pass the dev stage values, prod, prod. So the values will change according to the environment wise. So that is. So one thing, you can pass the values file here or other way around. If you remember yesterday, I was telling one more option. I want to override some values. In the command line also you can pass. In the command line, you need to pass -set. You have to set like the pod underscore count. We'll come on it more. Okay. Something like one more. Let's say, for example, what was the some more values we were replacing, right? -set image equal to image.repo equal to something. We'll give the some easier URL. What I was telling, you can override the values in the own values ML file in the Helm chart templates folder also, or you can pass in the command line also, like this set command, like this set. So when you see in the Helm command, somewhere set means they're going to, they're passing the values. That's what they're passing the values. Instead of the values ML file, they're passing at the command line. This is also good. You can pass in the values, you can pass in the command line, you can pass in the default values file. So these are all the options you have, the customization options. So you should have the clarity now, kubectl versus Helm. With the Helm, extra things also we can do. I was telling, right, if you remember, you can do Helm package. This will create a one TGZ folder. The TGZ will have a version. From where the version number will come? We were discussing, right? Version will come when you package a,
Values dot
chart data.
yeah, chart data YAML, in the chart data YAML. Some companies, right, what they do, whenever you modify a Helm chart, they need to change the version because specific version has specific changes and all. So they follow the trend. Whenever you modify a Helm chart, they change the version 1.0 to something and all. The specific chart will get deployed. So Helm is purely deployment tool, packaging tool, the Helm charts, Kubernetes objects. The kubectl normally, like you can deploy individual objects, you can get the pods. Once Helm deploys, the regular command we will be using the kubectl only. So both will interact with the kubeconfig with the API server only. So we'll be touching some kind of internet examples today. I'll take some internet examples with the Helm. Whatever we learned, right, we will take some internet example. We will use this Helm kind of tool. We'll understand on top of that. That is what. And then we will touch some other objects as well. So now you tell me, you already know this context. You discussed this guy, right? WordPress. You are running EC2. EC2. What is the database we have used for WordPress to connect?
MySQL.
Yeah, where did we run the MySQL? Where did we run the MySQL?
It used to be.
Where did we run? We have connected, right, WordPress with where we ran the MySQL. Yes, that is the correct answer. But where is the MySQL?
Connected to the ECT, then we install the RDS.
Exactly. MySQL is running on top of RDS. So where you have defined RDS will have what properties?
Database.
RDS properties. If I want to connect to the RDS, you need some properties like load balancer. How do you connect to the load balancer? From outside. If I want to access the load balancer, what is the thing I need from load balancer?
The endpoint.
Same way, RDS also will have some properties, right? Endpoint, username, extra guy, password, and one more extra guy is the database. All these properties. Among this, you see, right? Among this endpoint, username, password, database, right? Among these, which one is very sensitive that shouldn't get leaked outside? Very sensitive data in this. Sensitive means that shouldn't get leaked to anyone. Guys, you guys did now WordPress, many people did, right?
Password.
Yeah, password is a bit critical, right? This is a little critical. Yeah, other properties also, but as a kind of sense, the password is a critical something. These are all normal, like plain text values also, we can keep somewhere. You remember in WordPress, where we have defined all this information? How easy to know to connect to the MySQL? I have a code here, right? We installed one software on top of EC2 to run the WordPress code. What is the software?
Apache.
Exactly.
Tomcat.
Yeah, Apache. This is PHP code. Okay. Can you guys tell me the folder where we have
/var/www/.
here, right? Here you have start.php.
PHP.
In one file, we have defined this info. If
Yeah,
you
config file
WP
config file.
PHP file here. So there, like we followed their syntax, like something syntax, because who defined that? How they will call? That's all done by the developers. Developers job.
Right.
Developers has configured that. They told you like here. This I will say as a property file. Properties file. So developers will tell us from in which file that has to be defined and all. Now, same way in Kubernetes also. In Kubernetes also, these properties, right? These properties is to store. Properties, I'm telling very keyword. Properties are, I will say, environment variables. Why those environment variables we need? Very clearly, you know already, these are called dependencies. Dependencies. So not only RDS properties, for any application, the dependencies information, properties we call, environment variables we call, dependencies, different keywords we call. At the end, those are dependencies. Without those dependencies, application may not work as expected. In this case, right, mandatory component you need is the, for application is the RDS. Without RDS, WordPress will not work. Without database. So that is the dependency. So its application nature, what are the dependencies? Developers will tell us what are the resources need to be created. You remember we were following a checklist, right? When I say application, what questions you need to ask to the developer? We have a checklist, right? Somewhere we noted down, for example. Somewhere we have written a checklist. We were asking them, like when I take a Python code yesterday, we asked some questions, right? Something. Where is the code? Do you have a Docker file? What is the port number? Dependencies. All this we should ask to the developer. If developer says, hey, I need SQS, I need Elastic Cache, I need something SNS, something blah, blah, blah resources. All those resources we will be defining in a kind of, usually they will follow any one file, properties, environment variables, all those dependencies. In Kubernetes also, what is the object we are using to run application? You know already.
Deployment object.
Yeah. Exactly. Deployment. In the deployment object, what did you define? Image. This
Image.
is the one is the crucial. Now, this image needed some dependencies. Like we can define in the deployment arm also. Directly, you can define environment variables in deployment also. But if more environment variables are coming, right? More environment variables will come. Bit difficult to manage. They have very clear objective. This is for deployment. Very clear objective they have. Don't add extra variables and all. You can add some people, right? If one variable and all, they'll add directly in the deployment only. But they have given separate objects. Can you guys tell me how can I access this object from outside? What is the one you need? I wanted access.
So using service
Yeah.
service object, you can create load balancer.
Yeah. You need
The
a
select option.
service or one more is the
Ingress.
Ingress controller.
In this function.
you need a service equal to type equal to load balancer or service equal to cluster IP. Then we will create one more object.
Ingress.
If you are using ingress, you need one more object in the cluster. One more.
Ingress controller.
Yeah. Ingress. Same way, there is a one object, deployment, service, ingress. These are all like to access the pods. But to help the pod with the dependencies information to inject, there is a objects called config map. There is a object called secret. This is how it will come. Kind. This is how it will come. Same formula. API version blah blah something. And one more. Metadata. Here name. I'll say that, for example, WordPress CM config map. Config map, another name we used to call CM. Here, instead of spec something, right? They call as a kind of called data. Here I will specify DB name, DB endpoint, DB username, DB password. You can define here. This is what. So in the config map, we don't specify any image related properties and all. No. Config map is just to define some values, key values needed for application. This config name, I will give it to deployment. We'll give it to deployment, this config name. In the deployment, right? Somewhere we can call with the keyword env from. There is a one keyword like this. You have to give this name. If you give this config map, developer knows it. You have to tell to the developer, this is what our job. That's where, you know, right? I was telling, if you remember, one of the interview question, did you work from monolithic to microservices? If you say yes, there is a new project, you need to run that. In the new project, these kind of issues will come. Developer wanted some dependencies information. He knows only the coding. Because you went with experience, right? They'll ask you, how did you handle in your previous project? You can say that dependencies you can create in a config map. That config map we can pass to deployment like this env from. Now, if you go inside the pod, right? If you go inside the pod, these values, you need to run one command inside the pod, env pipe sim. If you say env, right? By default, all this will be available inside the pod. Now you need to tell to the developer, those are being mounted as the environment variable. In your code, you make a code to load from the environment variable. That's your job. Different options are there to pass the environment variable. One of the option I was telling as the environment variable. How do you check? Go inside the pod. Run command. Go inside the pod. How do you go? kubectl. exec -, pod name, -n, namespace. This is the command, kubectl exec. Go inside the pod, then run a command called env, then filter. You want to check specific keyword, you can check. If this have a value, you are safe. Our job is done. Next, developer has to take that developer job next one. So one of the object to inject dependencies related all these properties, object is called config map. Config map doesn't run any pod, but config map will help you the pod to run, application to connect dependencies. Next, one more guy. Very clearly it is saying same as it is. Same, nothing change. Here, kind equal to secret. Same. But we specify here in the secret object, right? We don't specify DB name, DB endpoint. It's not good place to specify. Good place to specify secret is secret related objects. I'll remove here password. I'll keep the DB password. But the DB password, whatever we are giving, right? Let me show you. If the password, for example, like this test.1, 2, 3. If you give this test.1, 2, 3 here, if you give like this, if you deploy this YAML, kubectl apply -f secret.ml -n namespace. Okay. How do I, you know the some formulas now? If I deploy a specific object, service object, here what will come for service object here? For example, for service. For deployment,
Duly deployment.
ingress, right? After you
Yes.
deploy, how do you check that is there? For example, I deployed a service object. How do you check? kubectl deployed or not to check. Get to service,
SSL.
get to deployment, something, right? Now, what is the object you are deploying here? Here. Now, secret. If you can check like this, kubectl get secret. If you deploy config map, same way, kubectl get CM, or you can give full name also, config map something. But habituation was we will go immediately CM. CM is for config map. You can check like this. Here, when you making a ML, you made like test 1, 2, 3 or something, right? After deployment, this ML, this secret will, if you check in the cluster, right, it will get decrypted. It will get encoded, base64 encoded. Second. So what I mean was, in the secret ML, if you give your plain password like this, in Kubernetes cluster, you can check MLs. You can check the ML values, everything, but you cannot read that. That will get encoded like this with the formula base64. But we can decode also. But here is the one of the interview question, you will get it. Difference between config map versus secret. Both are used. Supply environment variables. Who will use these environment variables? Who will use the environment variables?
To connect to developer will.
Yeah. Application will use those environment variable. So like for example, application want to connect to the RDS, application want to connect to the cache, SQS, SNS, different based upon the use case, Other APIs also, API endpoint also. So application will use this. Now, both are used to supply the environment variable. Secret mainly used to send the sensitive data. After you deploy the secret, the inside the values will get encrypted, will get encoded, base 64 encoded. But config map will have the plain values as it is. It will not get encrypted. Yeah. After deploy, whereas secret will get base 64 encode. You can do like this if you want to decrypt, right? For example, there is a command echo that this is whatever I was doing, right? This is for encryption base 64. This is got encoded. Sorry, this is not called encryption. This is called encoding, base 64 encoding. Now you can decode also this one. Echo, see, by base 64. You need to pass extra argument -d. D for decode. See here, you see, right? So Kubernetes, what it does, if you give a plain in the secret, if you give your passwords in your whatever your password, Kubernetes internally will encode those into base 64. So you should have this knowledge thing. Let's go here. Some samples we will see. Some samples. Config map. Config map is a one kind of kind. It's not to run a pod, but it will help the pod to pass some environment variables. Here, right? So this is the config map. In the data, they're passing all these values, player, blah, 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 like this. Some properties they're passing, multiple values they're passing, something. And this is the, don't care about pod or deployment, all are same. Here they're calling here env. So environment, when you say env means environment variables. From where they are calling? Config map reference. This is. So that is the one. Config map. You see right here, they're calling as a config map. They're mounting config map, that I can say. So let me keep this reference, some sample reference. We'll take one good example, but just get this keyword. You should have this keyword in the mind. So we'll be bringing our own application. Secret. See, for me, important keyword is secret. So here is the secret. This is the one YAML. And this is your deployment. How we call? Here is they're mounting directly. Instead of that, you can see env from also secret reference something. This is the secret object. Some different examples. Here are secrets. Different examples. This is also secret. Using a secret here. So like config map, right? Like you can pass like this here, something secret. For config map here, config map will come. For secret, the keyword secret will come. This is some sample. So we'll use this. So you should have this in the mind. Dependencies information in Kubernetes. What are the objects? Config map are secret. Secret purely for sensitive data like credentials, password, API token, like this. Purely for sensitive data. Config map is for plain information like endpoint and all. So you keep this thought. Good. So this is the one thing I want to cover next. So I have a namespace here. Namespace 1. Let's go with the namespace front end. Namespace backend. I'm going to deploy. I'm going to deploy deployment here. Okay. This deployment wanted to connect to the backend. This code, what are the pods, right? This pod. I'll because of this deployment, some pods will come. These pods want to connect to the some backend. Some more is there, like for example, let's say APIs. This is the one more namespace. Let's go with this. Namespace 1, namespace 2. One more namespace is there here. Okay. Here I wanted to, here also one deployment is running. Deployment API. Here I'll say backend. Deployment name backend. Deployment. Here some deployments are running. Please listen. This is where you should have like kind of this is where we expect you when you are coming to a project, because it's all developer knowledge, but you should have the developer mindset knowledge. Something. 3 namespaces are there, front end, back end APIs. By seeing, you can come to know which one we will expose to outside, which one we will not expose.
Intent.
Here. For this, you will do deployment object. Here also one deployment object. For this one deployment object. Which one we will access internally? Which one? Yeah, you told this is for. Here you will create ingress object, for example. So this will get accessed, and you will have a one service object also. Because of this, pods will be running. Okay, pods will be running. And obviously pod will have IP address. Every pod will have IP address. Can you guys tell me where pod will get registered? Somewhere you have seen. Pod, whenever pod will come, they'll get registered on one place. Pod IPs will get registered on one place. You have seen that. Just okay, you can throw blind. It's no need to be the correct something.
The service object, right?
Exactly, yes. In service object, they will get registered. So I'll say like this, you can connect from one pod to another pod. Like, can we connect from one EC to another EC2 with IP addresses or not?
We can.
With both should be in same network, or they should have a connectivity. They should have a connectivity, something VPC pairing, blah blah something. They should have a connectivity. Same way, you can connect from one pod to another pod also. You can connect. With pod also will have IP address. You can connect. But the drawback was, you remember, right? Pods may delete. Let's say you deployed one image, it is running for some days, and then you deployed one more image. The pods, what will happen? Old pods will get deleted, new pods will come. Now new pods will have again what? New IP addresses, right? Those new IP
Right.
addresses again you need to give to another pod. That's not good practice. That's where we are bringing one guy, right? That will never change. We are giving one. How are you exposing pods outside?
Ingress.
Before one more guy is coming.
Ingress controller.
Your application pods. Here. How are you exposing pods? Are within cluster internally or outside also anyway?
Cluster IP.
Service.
No service.
We'll bring a service. Here also I'll bring a service. Think that now www.google.com, www.facebook.com, all those are called, I'll tell you easily, you can correlate. That is also called one service name also, you can say facebook.com, google.com, something. When you call a facebook.com, internally it is resolving to IP address, right? Same way in Kubernetes also, we can access with pods with IP address, but that's not good practice. Why? Pods may delete, new pods will come, so that pods IP will change. That's where we don't use pods IPs. Better to use service name. Service name will not change, right, until you delete. Service name, I'm telling it, service will use name. Under that service name, who got registered? Pods. When you send a request to service name, this service will internally will send a request to whom? Pods.
Pod.
So in Kubernetes, if one pod want to communicate with another pod, we don't call pod IPs. We will call in this pod, right? I was telling it. From this pod, I want to call these pods. I will create a one here. What is that? Service name called a backend SVC. Here I will say, for example, backend API service. I'm going to create one extra object, service name. These service names I will give here. I will give here. To whom? Front end. This front end internally will call to whom now?
Backend.
Backend SVC. Service names it will call. Here is the question. Where do we define this configuration to these pods? How these pods will know? You know, right? I was giving an example, WordPress. In the WordPress, you will call in the wp-config.php or this endpoint something. Now, my front-end pod want to communicate to this. These are the dependencies. Where do we call that info?
Yeah,
It-
kind is
Config.
config map.
You come.
Yeah. Along with this deployment, right? I need to create one more object here. All these are deployments. I will create one more object called, what is that object?
Config map.
Config map. Here, right? API version, blah, blah, blah will be there. Here, for example, I'll go here, little top. Here, right? I will say. Here, I'll say. Very important. Whatever the key you are using, right? This key. That key you need to check with the developer, or you need to tell to the developer, I'm using this key. You need to communicate to the developer. Both should be in sync. Then only developer will load in his code. Now I'll say front end is calling to the back end. This config map I'll give to front end guy. For example, like this. I'll give front end CM. Here I will specify backend API and one more backend SVC. So let me go here. We'll go here. Very important. I'll say this is, I'll group all together. Okay, I'll group all together. This is one guy. This is the one guy. Content. Do we deploy all those in one namespace or different namespaces? What is a good practice?
Sorry.
Do we deploy all the pods in one namespace or different is good practice?
Different namespace.
Backend API. 3 namespaces are there. Front end, backend API. 3 namespaces are there. You deployed one deployment here. One deployment. Pods are running. These pods want to communicate to whom internally now? If application
Backend
wants
and
to work,
backend.
they wanted to call to this guy. This guy. You already deployed one more deployment here. One deployment here. Here also some pods are running. Same way you deployed here also one deployment. These are called microservices architecture. In monolithic, we club all together. In microservices, we separate backend API something. This can be Java language backend API can be Python or something different. Frontend can be React JS or like HTML something. It's up to the people what they choose. So cool. Here pods are running. Backend pods. Here backend API pods are running. Here front-end pods are running here. Now front-end pods want to communicate with the backend or backend API. You remember, you need to create one extra object, right? Dependencies. What was the object we were telling?
Config map.
Config map. Here you will call like this data. How the pods will get exposed in the class in the Kubernetes normally?
Service info.
Service. Service.
Object.
Exactly, service. Here I will create a one service called extra service called backend -svc. Here I will create a one extra service called backend API -svc. The naming convention I'm making. So here you deploy two objects now. Here also two objects. Here you deployed deployment. Obviously, if you want access outside, that will be there. Ingress will be there. Obviously, service will be there. So you will access from outside ingress controller. I'm not targeting on the access part outside. I'm targeting in the how they will communicate within the cluster. This is very important. Now, you need to, we can give pod IPs also here directly, but that's not good practice as I was telling, right? Pods may change, pods will deleting it. Another new pods will come, IP will change. We never give pod related IPs. That's not good practice. Good practice is to use the service name. Here, I'm going to add one key, backend URL. Very important. In the config map, whatever the key you are using, this key will be used by the code. So you need to inform to the developer or you need to ask the developer which key I need to use in the config map. Config map related keys, purely developer option for applications. Cool. Here, you need to give like this, http://backend svc. Who will use this? Who will use this backend svc here? Who is using?
Front end.
Front end. You need to call like this, backend. Like this you have to call. What is this backend here? Backend is the namespace. What is this is called?
Name, domain name, or service.
Service name. Service name dot namespace. You have to give like this. Can you guys tell me with the same example for backend API as well?
http://backend API -service.
Yeah, HTTP
Backend API.
backend
API service
dot
backend API.
backend API.
API.
What is the backend API at the end? What is this guy?
That is namespace.
Namespace. What is this guy?
That is backend API service name.
Service name. So this is where the you will get asked majority in the interview questions. I have seen it. How to call from one namespace to another namespace. How to communicate from the question is, this is the question. How to communicate from one part to another part. So you have to say, if I get the same question, I go with this. We can communicate from one part to another part. First thing we need to know where those two parts are running. Are they running in same namespace? Are they running in the different namespaces? If they're running in the same namespace, I can give directly like this. If all the pods, front end, back end API, if all are running, no need to pass at the end what?
Dot namespace.
Not names. Can I pass it? Yes, you can pass. That's if all are running in the same namespace, you can give the same namespace only. That's not a, you can give it dot namespace if all are running. So let me keep it here. Keyboard select. The question is, this is the question. Communicate from one part to another part. So first we need to know, are they in same namespace? If they are in the same namespace, in pod 1 config map or environment variable, in pod 1 we can it's not, I will say like this, in pod 1 config map, it's not good practice to give the pod related IP addresses because pod may change. So that's where the good practice to give the second pod I will expose as a service. The service name will give here. I'll call give. In pod 1 config map environment variable, we will give pod 2 service name. They have the curious here. How do you call the service name? They'll ask it. For example, they give, let's say that pod A namespace is equal to A, B is equal to B, and then the service name are equal to also, they'll give like this. They'll give the scenario. Namespace A, namespace B, deployment A, deployment B. Now, so both are in the same namespace only. Can you guys tell me now? How do you give? This is the namespace only. Namespace as well as deployment. Both are running in the same namespace only.
Yeah, HTTP.
For example, okay, HTTP. Service name also think that B only. I want to call
Okay,
from
then A.
I want to call from A to B.
A.B.
Okay, this is little confusing one. Okay, let's say that, yeah, go with the front end and deployment name is equal to backend. Both are in the same namespace only. Namespace is called hello. Okay. Hello -ns, hello -ns. This is where the very crucial interview question. This is what one of the. So I want to call from front end to back end. Both are in the same namespace. My service name equal to -svc. You think it, okay? Deployment name will be front end. Service name will be names are like front end svc, back end svc. Now I need to call back. Both are in same namespace only.
Yeah, front end dot backend -svc.
No, backend CC dot hello -ns.
Yeah. One, you can give like this, hello -ns. This is the syntax. Let me give the syntax. How to call one service to other service. This is what the syntax. You have to give HTTP based upon the protocol. What the protocol? For example, I'm giving. Remove the protocol also. If you want to call one service to another service, you need to give service name dot namespace. You have to give like this. If both are in same namespace, right? If both, you can remove this. No need to pass this one. You can remove this. Let me put it here. Both apps are running the same namespace, right? You can do like this. One option is this. Second option, no need to pass what? Service name. No need to pass. Just a service name is enough. Namespace not required. Okay. Just service name is enough.
So another pod service name, actually, you can say that.
So let's say I'm calling from front end to back end, right? Just I'll give the back end -svc. That's it. You no need to prepend with service namespace. No need to prepend. So, some more options are there. This is the syntax, okay? This is the syntax I'm giving. One more options. In Kubernetes cluster, right? They will maintain their host or zone called svc.cluster.local. You can call like this also. Like this also. Now, same example. Let's go over here. Let me bring this one down. Now you tell me with this by taking above reference. This is the syntax I had given. You have to tell me. If both are in different namespace, this is called backend NS. Oh, sorry. Frontend NS. This is called the backend NS. Yeah. And the service name equal to for this backend SVC only. Yeah. Now you tell me according to this syntax, I want to call from front end to backend. Follow this syntax. This is the syntax. Front end to back end I want to call.
The backend SVC dot
Backend SVC dot front end
backend NS front end NS.
front end NS.
You have to say back end. No, you know, right? From where to where we are calling?
Oh, yeah, front end
Front end to back end.
backend
So you need
backend NS
where back end service is running.
backend NS.
So you cannot do cross mapping.
Correct.
My service is in backend, and then my deployment is in the backend deployment in the front end. You cannot do linking. That is not.
Understand.
There are namespace objects are there. Yeah, this is one more example you can give. One more. I gave
Yeah,
three.
front end SVC.
Dot front end.
No. My objective was I want to call from front end to back end. So whose information to whom you need to supply? Let's say let's forget all this. Simple. I have RDS backend. Front end is WordPress. To whom you are giving the information? RDS information you are giving to whom? WordPress.
Front end.
Same way. I wanted to connect to the backend from front end. I need to give the backend information to whom? Front end.
Front end.
How do you give that information? I'm asking. Here I have given some syntax examples. If both are in same, this is the example. You follow
Without if it is both are in same, we don't need to give the namespace. If
Exactly.
different, we have to give the namespace.
Exactly. Now, this will not work. This will not work. If you give like this, right, it will not work. It will say that the connection refused, and because where it will
Yeah.
check in the same
Because-
namespace only it will check.
Correct.
Now, this will work. So replace here. What will come?
Backend SVC. Backend NS.
That's it. That's it. So here is the question. If one namespace want to connect with another namespace, how you can say that? Another namespace service name dot namespace. That is what we expect you in the interview question. How to communicate from one namespace to another namespace service name dot namespace. That's what you need to say in the interview. Any thoughts you want to ask on it? You got it right?
Yes.
How to communicate from one namespace to another namespace. Let me save this as well. Where do we specify that configuration? Calling from one namespace to another namespace configuration.
Config map.
Config map. Yes, the thumb rule. That's how we go in the environment variable. Or you can say, yeah, config map is the best keyword, or you can say that environment variable. Then they may ask you, oh, where do you define the environment variable? Then lead it to config map. So with that, right, you are saying them, you know the very good technical keywords. So that's how even I used to play sometimes in the interview. Cool.
So this is the question for the both, right? How to connect one service to another service, how to connect one part to another part.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. Obviously, pod is equal to service only, right? Internally. Yes.
Understand.
Yeah. So my objective was if both are in same namespace, just we will avoid that giving the namespace. Hey, can I give the namespace? You can give, not a problem. That's not a problem, but you can avoid it. That's good. So one more very important guy in the cluster, right? In every Kubernetes cluster, it's not only for this cluster. Every Kubernetes cluster, this will be the hosted zone. This will be maintained by Kubernetes cluster internally. This is the default. Hosted zone will be maintained by the cluster internally to communicate between them, between the cluster related names. This is the name. It will be maintained by internally. Good. So with this, right, this is where I'm coming. You know some objects, no? Some configuration, you know. Config map. How to pass in the Helm, I wanted to override some values.
Yeah, we have to edit values data.
No, I don't want to touch that values YAML file, default values file.
Yeah, in the last we can give -f and the changes, right?
Yeah,
For example,
one option is create.
your home website.
This is one option. Second option, I was telling, if you remember, help.
Upgrade.
I was telling now one option. What is the
Set.
option I was telling? Set also. With the set command also, you could. I no need to pass in the values file. I can put in the set command. I can put -set, -set like this. I can pass multiple set and all. Okay. Keep this thing. So with this, let's go on. Then we will do. I'm going to create two namespaces. You know already this story. Prometheus, Grafana. Two namespaces. You know who will call whom.
Grafana will call
Grafana will
Prometheus.
call to Prometheus.
How it will call now? The here, what do you need?
Yeah.
You have a service here. Prometheus only. Now,
Grafana SVC dot Grafana service actually, that's it.
you tell me now.
If it is, yeah, Grafana,
Grafana SVC.
sorry, Prometheus dot if Prometheus, if the same, yeah, the same. No,
Exactly.
but you don't need to give actually with the same
Exactly. Where do you give this information to Grafana?
config map.
That's it. So let's go with that. I'm going to deploy this configuration. So please, this is there is a very good tutorial given by AWS. I'll follow their step-by-step steps only. So EKS workshop Prometheus. This is a very good given by the AWS people only. We'll follow these steps as it is. Now you know I'm not going individually touch the YAML. We are going to install with Helm only. Okay. So we are not writing the Helm charts here. We are using the existing Helm charts only. In the real time also same. For Prometheus Grafana, we will use the outside people Helm charts majority times until if there is a very strict stringent rule we will avoid. But majority times we will follow the same steps whatever here are there. Now you remember I'm going to use Helm charts. One, you know already this story. When I say Docker pull HTTPD, from where this image will pull?
Docker Hub.
Docker Hub, right? Same way, people, outside people, right? Many companies, they will store Helm charts at some storage place. That is called Helm registry. We call Helm registry. They will store the Helm charts here, Helm registry. Every company, like my company will store some public, I want to give to public all the people, my company tool. Then we will have our own registry. I will give it outside people. You can use ECR or you can use up to them. Same way Prometheus and Grafana, they have stored Helm charts at one place. So go here, go little, this is the top link, monitoring link. This is the top link. I'll give here lab. This is the lab. We're going to set up Prometheus and Grafana. Observability. Good. Now let me hide this. They say what is Grafana, blah blah blah. This is the place they have stored Helm charts. This is the place. This is the place they have stored their Helm charts. Which company? This Prometheus company. Same way, the Grafana also. If we go here, this is the place they have stored Grafana, different places. Can I download that Helm chart? Yes, you can download these Helm charts also. You can download. You can download. So this is the place they have stored the Helm charts. And then this is the Prometheus one. Now, which is the tool we are using to deploy into Kubernetes now? What is the
Helm.
tool we are using? Helm, right? Now Helm should know that URL path, that wherever Prometheus Helm charts are there, Grafana Helm charts are there, Helm tool should know that. That's where I will be specifying this command. Helm repo add. I'm going to add. I'm not deploying here. I'm going to say that next time onwards, if I do some Helm chart related, Prometheus related commands, Helm chart related commands, it will search here. That repository is there or not. That's what I'm adding here. Helm chart repo here. Let's add it. Next one more. It says already exist. Yesterday I was trying that experimentation. This is how you had that. Next, have a thumb rule. When you add like this, right, you have to run this command. This is a good practice. You remember you do m update, right? Same way here also. Helm repo update. After you add any repository, run this command. Helm repo update. This is a good practice. We will follow these steps, but we will take our class concepts here. I will not follow all these steps here. No, we will change a lot steps here. Okay. With that, I was telling Helm repo update is the good command. Now, you know the story. You know the story. What are we creating here?
Namespace.
Prometheus namespace. Next, again, they give the command. Helm repo add, it says already exist. That's okay. This is, you know. Why they are using set command? We discussed now here in the Helm command. Previously we discussed. Why do we use set?
So they're adding the values correctly.
I want to override some value in the values file. Default values file. That's what.
Right.
So I'm going to install one. This is the Prometheus name, Helm chart name. This is the Helm chart path in the repo. In this namespace, I am going to give some volume. I'm going to give GP2 something. Here you see, right, some storage class. You see right here, storage class. You can check the storage class is there or not. Storage class also one object in Kubernetes, like config map, secret, deployment, service, like that. Storage class also one object. You can check like this command. There is one command to check. Both should match. kubectl will get SC. This will come along with our cluster creation. Along with our cluster creation, we had given one add-on actually because of that. This is the GP2. This name should match. Good. Both are matching. Storage class name, both are matching. Let's go and then apply it. Can you guys tell me here what is the tool we are installing now?
Prometheus.
Prometheus. Let's do it.
We think we are in different. Okay, correct here on.
Yeah. Done. So Prometheus got installed. Now, how do you install? How do
Through
you
using Helm
our Helm chart or outside Helm chart? This one.
outside repo.
Now, what all running? What been installed? How do you check?
kubectl.
Tell me, kubectl.
Get parts only. Parts hyphen.
That's how
Yeah,
you have
namespace.
it. First check
Prometheus. Yeah.
Prometheus. So there are some, one is in pending, one is in pending status, some guy is pending. You know some keywords here.
Yeah. Node export.
What is the role of node exporter? Collect the metrics from node.
Collect. Yeah.
Will send to whom? Prometheus server. Let me go to the architecture. Node exporter will collect, will send to whom?
Prometheus.
Prometheus server. From Prometheus server, who will collect that?
Grafana.
Grafana.
Grafana here. See, automatically all came, majority. 1, 2, 3, 4. How many node exporters are there?
4.
How many nodes are there? Let's see. You still get nodes.
Notes. 4.
So if I scale one more node, if I add one more node, automatically one more node exporter also will come. Because of these pods, whatever the pods you are seeing, right? These pods are deployed not as a deployment, not as a stateful set. They deployed as a daemon set. That we will discuss further, okay? Cool. So just observe, these pods are running. And one more Prometheus server pod also running here. 1 by 2. Let's come 2 by 2. Yeah, 2 by 2 came.
Yeah.
2 by 2 good. Now I want to export. I don't want to access node exporters and all. My objective was I want to access this Prometheus server outside.
Yeah, we need to install service.
Check service is there or not. Keep still.
Get
Get.
svc-n Prometheus. Yeah, there are Prometheus service.
This is the Prometheus server pod. You can
Correct.
check pod IP address also. You can check pod IP address.
Yeah.
Same command, right? Get P1-O wide. Keep it wide. Like this. Let me make it little. You can keep like this command. This is the Prometheus server. This is the pod IP. Okay. Take this. You know, right? I was telling some keywords. Where pod will get register?
Service.
Check that.
Service object.
Check this. kubectl. Describe. SVC.
svc-n Prometheus.
No. This one. SVC.
ID, yeah.
Correct or not? Service name. -n Prometheus. Describe this. Can you see somewhere?
Endpoint 9090.
So your pod is running on which port number? By telling you can specify.
Yeah, 10.0.0.
Pod is running on which port number?
90.
Service endpoint
Pod
9090.
9090. Pod port number. Target port number is called pod port number. Your service running on which port number? This is what? 80. Your service is
Yeah.
running on the 80.
80.
This service name I can access within the cluster. Why? Within the cluster only I can access.
Machine private network.
This service name I can access within the cluster only because of one reason you have on the screen.
Private network with cluster IP.
Exactly. Now, I can access from another pod also. Inside any pod I can go, I can access this Prometheus server and this port number. That we will do. Now, there is a good connectivity between Prometheus server service to Prometheus server pod. This is the good cause. If you have like this, yes, you are good now to connect to this service endpoint. Good. Now, who will connect to the Prometheus server?
Grafana.
Let's go here. Go here. Don't follow this extra related. You can check like this, all whatever you can check like this. This will give you the all of them. Now one more, na? Yeah, very good, important. We wanted to access this one outside, right? You cannot access this one outside now with this. You need one more object. One more object, right?
Yeah, ingress.
You need one more object. Now let's see.
Service object.
No, service object is there already.
Ingress.
Get
Yeah.
ing.
Yes.
This document will not say about it. So that's where we will do our own story. This document, right, will not talk about ingress. On this, we will make our own masala, ingress on. Okay. They'll do this port forwarding and all. We don't do that. Because this cluster is in the private. You cannot access from outside. Cool. This and all we will access with our ingress. Let's prepare one ingress ML. I'll prepare one ingress ML. Let me make it. You tell me what to be changed here. I'll say here
Prometheus.
Now let me get this. You tell me what to be changed here. I want to access this Prometheus server parts outside.
Port number.
Service name also.
What? Tell me line numbers. You have the line numbers on the screen.
15.
15. What I need to give?
Prometheus hyphen server.
This is the name. Ingress will select the service. Next. Service port number is 80 only. Your port number is 9090, but you will send to 80, that internally will forward to 9090. You no need to give this. Both should be.
Right.
That is correct. Now, this name we will give example. This is the Prometheus. Let's see. Ingress. Take this YAML. Weird ing.ml.
And namespace will be okay. Deploy.
Yeah, that we will hard code here. Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
There it is. Keep city. Apply FNF. ING. Next FNN.
Hyphen N. Prometheus.
It is. I could have installed along with the Helm chart, right? But this Helm chart not in our control. I need to download those Helm charts. I need to modify that again and all. That also can be done. This also, it's up to you how you want to. Let's apply. Yes. Keep still get ING FNN. With this. Keep still describe ING. This story is not there in that wiki. They'll go with a different approach. We are going with the ingress control approach. Cool. If you see like this, we are good. We are good. Wait for some time. Yeah. Now we will register in the DNS. The Route 53. We don't have. This domain mandatory, otherwise request will not go there because ingress controller will check headers. Go here. You see, this is the UI of the Prometheus. Prometheus is good. We are able to access the Prometheus now. But yes, we will access Prometheus. Prometheus, you remember, right? Prometheus versus Grafana, which is the good?
Grafana.
Because that makes very good GUI. You can run queries here also, but good GUI is where? Grafana. Let's go there. This is how we are getting the thing. Deploy Grafana. This is where you see, right? One thing very important. This is one, you know this story already. We will customize this command. We'll remove all this. We will not follow that thing. What is that? Yeah. We'll take a VI. We'll create a this YAML. VI, this YAML. You see that this is called values YAML file only. This is values YAML file. Grafana will connect to whom?
Prometheus.
Can you see syntax? This YAML I will give to Grafana. I'll give it to Grafana, this YAML. This is the one YAML file I'm preparing it. Where are we specifying here? Connect to.
We have to change that URL.
Is it wrong or correct?
Prometheus server dot Prometheus SVC. If that name is correct, yes, it's correct. But we have to check the namespace.
Prometheus server namespace. This is who? What is this is called? In your point of view, what is this is called?
That is service name.
This is?
Namespace.
Yes. This is correct only, right? You can go with this also, no?
Huh.
This is. So both will be in different namespace. Both will be.
Right.
If both are in same namespace, you can exclude, right? This one
Yeah.
Right.
can exclude. This is what. Now let's go to that. I'm going to create one YAML file, our own values YAML file with this content. Let's create here itself, wherever you are in that same folder. VA grafana.yaml. My God. Okay. Let's create YAML, VA grafana YAML. Insert this, add this content. I'm creating one YAML, values YAML file. I will give this YAML file as input to Helm chart, Grafana Helm chart. This is our own values file. Now, this story, you know. This command is very important. This is the command to install the Grafana. Here, right? I'll pass my own values file here. Values. I will not expose this as a load balancer. What they're doing it, they're going to install the Grafana. That service type, how they're doing it.
Load balance.
What approach we will go? I'll remove this. We'll go with what?
Ingress
Ingress
controller.
Ingress controller, exactly. Just run this command. Remove those. Here also you are overriding some set. You are passing your own values for. Do it. Paste. In the different namespace. So you are saying this in this YAML. Prometheus is there in another namespace, that URL. This YAML you are giving to Helm chart of the Grafana. Done. One object is pending. You know now. kubectl get PO-n Grafana. What is coming? kubectl get svc-n Grafana. kubectl get ing-n Grafana. Now let's the pod come up.
Ingress is pending.
What is coming? Yes. Change this YAML again. Now you have to tell me on the screen. You have that. This is where your skill set. First application only little complex. Next onwards.
Yeah, we have to change that name, service name.
Here. TD Grafana. Here Grafana only. So see here. This is the Grafana cluster AP. Port number is
Correct.
80. In the service, we will specify what is our target port number. You can check this. kubectl describe svc Grafana and Grafana. Grafana port number, obviously target port
3000.
3000. That service will take care. I will send to service on 80 port number. That service internally will forward on this IP addresses and all. That will take care. Cool. Take this YAML. You have to install in the same namespace. Done. kubectl get ing. Check that. Describe ing. Scheduled for sync. Meantime, let's go and update there also. The DNS. You know, beauty with the, there is a one concept. Will come on it. Automatically, if you deploy ingress, right, that will update automatically Route 53 also. You no need to touch this thing. If you have hosted zone, right, this ingress will automatically update in the Route 53 also. Yeah, good. Let's access this one. Admin, default user is the admin. Password you could have given in the YAML. The ML, right? Somewhere you could have given. This is the password. There was a password, no? No? Did we give the password? No?
Admin.
No, somewhere we were giving the password. No. Default password we are overriding. This is the password.
Okay.
Not admin. Yeah, this is the password. Login. Done. Save. So already node exporters are running. They are sending data to who, where? Prometheus server.
This
Prometheus server, you connected with that service name internal endpoint. Grafana Prometheus server dot, sorry. Grafana to Prometheus, you connected Prometheus server dot Prometheus configuration you had given. Next, your job is to here create some kind of dashboards here. Beauty with this is, with the Grafana people is, they had given very good dashboards in the market. You no need to prepare from scratch, no. Majority we will import, majority times. Even my job also, I used to get from internet. I learned those how they made it. I used to replicate that. So you know, right, PromQL, Prometheus query language. If you go here, this is, we are not going with the load balancer type. We went with Ingress. Go here. They give some inbuilt dashboards. In the internet also you can check these things. Go here. New input. Give that number. Load. This is Kubernetes cluster mounting dashboard. You have to select automatically because you had given this Prometheus name in this YAML. You had given this data source here in this YAML, right? Well, when you're making, this is the name. This YAML you had given as input to Grafana data source. This is where is coming here, import. So automatically your cluster usage, how many nodes are there, each node usage, on that node, what pods are running individually, what pods are running. There are very good dashboards are there in the market. Let's go here, one more. Grafana, Kubernetes, pods, monitoring, dashboard. I want to check pods, how much is individual CPU usage, memory usage, and this is one. You can go copy ID. This is where your job. Dashboard, save this dashboard, save. Next, one more. I'm going to import. Go to the right click, dashboards, import. 63306. This is pods monitoring. You need to Prometheus. Select namespace. If data is not coming right, somewhere you are behind this, there will be queries will be running. That query is maybe you may need to change. Okay. And one more. We'll fix all this. Okay. One very good guy, one more guy. You can monitor ingress controller also. How many requests are coming? Ingress controller. Ingress controller, AWS NLB, Grafana, monitoring dashboard. Let's bring these dashboards. This is ingress controller dashboard. AWS load balancer controller. No, this is load balancer controller. No. Ingress controller. Search with this. Yes. Copy this guy. If this is no data, right? Somewhere you need to behind, right? Behind here, there will be queries will be there here. This data is coming or not, we need to check. That will fix it up. Like this. One more dashboard. Save this wala. I'm importing pod monitoring and then the ingress controller monitoring kind of dashboards. New import. So here, how many requests are coming to ingress controller, how many failed, all those will come listed here. How many success, everything here it will come. Here you will get a Nginx, you should get Nginx because we have ingress controller class Nginx, right? That should come. So if data is not coming, somewhere you need to tweak the query, something. Behind this, PromQL queries will be there. Any thoughts you want to ask on this? Please, I would request you guys to set up same. If you stuck somewhere else, please let us know that I can see. Yeah. We'll see further tomorrow. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Hello.
Yeah, yes, Umsi.
Yeah. So just wanted to ask, okay, so now we are using the ingress controller, right?
Yes, yes.
Okay, so in the production grade environment, okay, are we using ALB or okay, this ingress controller only? ALB
No.
ingress controller or this one only?
No, it's up to the team, Umsi. In my some projects, right, we are using ingress controller. We are using this thing. For some applications, we are using ALB ingress controller also. Some projects we are using ISTI also. It's up to the use case.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
But what is the main one? Okay, maybe you know, so people opt for ALB or
No.
Nginx only.
No, ALB came later. ALB came later. First one is
Okay.
the ingress controller only. First one.
Okay.
First Nginx ingress controller came. From that, the other people they derived it. Now people are shipping to ALB ingress controller. I have seen it.
Mm.
They are shipping. Yeah.
But you know, out of these, you know, this one we don't expose via node port, right? You know, for Nginx and ingress controller. Like the pods one, okay, pod deployment cannot be exposed via node port, right?
1 second. Huh? Second.
Huh.
Let's go here. What is the one you're saying?
No. Oh, okay. So the request is coming from, you know, from the user to ingress controller, from ingress controller to, you know, service deployment, I can say, you know, so pod service.
It will go to service to deployment. Yeah.
Service to deployment, right? But in the in the ALB, okay, so in the ALB ingress, okay, so it will directly go to user to node port and then node port to service, correct?
Yes. In the ALB, yes. That's
So, that's way, right? So
yeah, exactly. Yes.
okay.
Yeah.
So,
There you will get a target groups, extra target groups, you will be getting it. And then nodes will be added there. Directly nodes will come. Yes, node port will be there. Yes. Whatever question.
node port will be there.
Yes.
Okay. Fine. This deployment it don't require, correct?
Yes. Here you don't require. Yes. You don't need to require. Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.